Are European leaders truly convinced that Ukraine can still be salvaged? Scott Ritter's answer is blunt.
If you see this
I think the
differently.
Europeans right now, to be honest, are buying time. They're buying time. They're waiting for the midterm elections.
The American midterm
elections this coming November. They have been told by, and again, we have a lot of treasonous people here in the United States. I understand policy differences. I have many policy differences. But when you go and negotiate with foreigners to undermine the executive of the United States, you're committing treason. And you have Democrats and Republicans right now who are meeting with the Europeans. You have some people in Trump's cabinet who are meeting with the Europeans, telling them all we have to do is delay, hold on, survive until November.
Europe is trapped in a strategic paradox. On one hand, it lacks the independent military capacity to shift the balance on the battlefield. On the other, it refuses to accept Ukraine's potential defeat as a political reality. Time, therefore, becomes the last remaining instrument of strategy. However, Ritter's argument assumes that a change in the U.S. Congress would automatically translate into a reversal of American policy. History suggests otherwise. In U.S. foreign policy, especially in major geopolitical conflicts, bipartisan security consensus often outweighs electoral competition.
And then if Congress is flipped, then Trump will be stymied. And then all you have to do is wait the final 2 years, and then we can reverse all this. So that's what they're trying to do. They're in no position to create a war because they don't have any ability. What they're doing is creating political difficulties for this president, and they're trying to extend the viability of Zelensky. But it's not working because on the front line right now, the Ukrainian army is in near total collapse, and there's nothing that can be done to salvage that situation. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian energy sector has collapsed. Their cities are dark.
Ritter proceeds to describe a scenario of total collapse, the Ukrainian army breaking down, the energy sector in ruins, and cities plunged into darkness. While these claims are rooted in real developments, including infrastructure damage and financial strain, they require careful distinction.
Their cities are dark, and they have no money, none.
Yeah, their cities are dark and probably cold.
The RADA was told to pass a budget. How can you pass a budget when you don't have any money? And Zelensky's government is falling apart. So this strategy of holding on isn't going to work. And so you'll see the more desperate things become for the Ukrainians, the more harsh and shrill the rhetoric will be out of Europe. But be rest assured, Europe can do nothing to back their words up.
The proposal to hold elections in Ukraine under NATO security guarantees is, from both legal and strategic perspectives, highly implausible. Judge Napolitano rightly asks whether Russia or even the United States would ever consent to such an arrangement. This proposal functions less as a solution and more as a media maneuver, an attempt to project the illusion that the West still controls the political initiative. In reality, no election conducted in a country with contested territory and active military control by an opposing force can carry genuine legitimacy. Ritter's observation here is critical. Elections are not a tool to end wars. They are the consequence of wars already concluded.
There will be elections in Ukraine. The elections will come after the capitulation of Zelensky. The elections have already been organized conceptually by the Russians. They know who the candidates are. They know how they want to facilitate it. They know what the outcomes are. That's what you get to do when you win a war. People are like, that's terrible. Well, you know, the United States created military government to occupy Germany around 1943. And so as we rolled into Germany, every town, every city that we occupied, a military government moved in that had been preparing to occupy that city, that town, for several years now. And we had a black list of Germans that were going to be arrested, a gray list of Germans that were going to be monitored, and a white list of Germans that we were going to work with. That's what victors get to do. They get to dictate the outcome. And this is what Russia is going to do in Ukraine. So I'm not worried about any of this stuff. Europe has no ability to do anything without the backing of the United States. And if you just read the national security strategy of the United States, put out by the Trump administration a week ago today, Europe's on the wrong path, headed towards civilizational erasure.
Ritter concludes by invoking historical precedent, comparing Ukraine's future to Germany's occupation after World War II. The principle he highlights is clear: victors dictate political outcomes. This comparison is historically defensible, but it must be applied cautiously. Today's international system still operates under power-based realism, despite rhetorical commitments to human rights and sovereignty. Should Russia achieve military victory, it will almost certainly attempt to restructure Ukraine's political system in accordance with its security interests. Yet military victory does not automatically guarantee long-term political stability. Ignoring social resistance, national identity, and the costs of prolonged occupation risks oversimplifying the outcome. The exchange between Scott Ritter and Judge Napolitano offers a stark portrait of the West's strategic deadlock in Ukraine. But a realistic analysis demands a clear distinction between prediction, exaggeration, and battlefield reality. Europe neither possesses the capacity to save Ukraine nor the political courage to acknowledge defeat, and it is precisely this gap that continues to deepen the crisis.